you say you
Guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Diana, and for today's video I'm going to do for you guys a review slash first impressions slash wear test. So enough slashing. The product that I'm talking about is the new Hint Hint Skin Tint by Morphe 2. This is just an extension of the Morphe line that is more geared towards younger people, or I've been told. That's what I've heard. That's what I assume, right? And yeah, I'm super excited to try this product. It is vegan, water-based. It's supposed to hydrate, smooth, and blur. It is lightweight, breathable, and it's supposed to have a sheer to medium coverage, and it's supposed to be buildable as well. Now, I had a little bit of trouble picking out my shade just because I thought it was kind of wonky. Usually I am very good at picking out my shade, but I kind of saw that how it looked in the bottle was lighter than how it would swatch. So I hope I got the right shade. I got mine in Hint of Toast, which is a medium with golden undertones. I was gonna go either with this one or Hint of Almond. So we shall see. It seems like it will be all right. Hopefully it's not too orangey. Usually I like to get golden versus a warm, just because a warm sometimes has a little bit more of a warm orange hue to it. So hopefully this one is good. This is how it looks like, and this retails for $17. I think with tax and shipping, mine came out more or less $20, which is basically the same price that I paid for in the ColourPop one, the recent one that they just launched, their foundation. And it's like a frosted glass. I mean, it looks very beautiful. It looks high-end. The only concern that I have is that it's a dropper bottle. I'm so messy with dropper bottles. Like, you have to be careful when you're putting it in, because or else it's just gonna overflow, you know. But this is the color so far. It looks pretty good for my skin tone. Let me swatch it. Oh, you know what? I have to shake it first because it says you need to shake it. Since it is water-based, it's going to be super liquidy. It's the swatch fresh out of the bottle. And I'm just going to kind of let this dry to see. Yeah, this color looks like it's going to be a really good match. I'm going to let this dry to see if it oxidizes any. So this is how it looks. Okie dokie. And now for a primer. I am not the kind of person that always wears a primer, but usually it's between like two. I will usually go in with a Tatcha Silk Canvas, or I'll go in with a Makeup Forever poreless primer, or I'll go in with like some sort of glotion, you know, but that I don't really consider that a primer. But I'm going to be using the Tatcha one today. I feel like what its strongest suit is just helping your foundation glide on better onto your skin. It does conceal pores the tiniest bit, not as well as the Makeup Forever poreless primer, but it smells really good and it's super luxurious. So, you know, I paid like $50 for it, so I'm going to use it. I kind of regretted it after I bought it because I saw that they came out with like a travel size version, and I was like, I could have bought the travel size version, but you know, whatever. You can see it did darken the tiniest bit, not in a ugly oxidation way. Like, this is not turn orange or too warm. I feel like it kind of just darkened the tiniest bit in a good way. So I'm really happy with how it is setting on my hand, because let me show you guys again. That's how it looks like fresh out of the bottle. It's pretty bright, so it does darken a tiny bit. Sorry for my slurping. Okay, So I'm going to do a beauty blender on one side, and then I'm going to do a brush on the other side. I usually like to do it with the beauty blender. That's just like my preferred way, but sometimes I will go in with a brush, with a stipple brush to be more precise. Okay, so I'm going to go in with 3 drops to start on one side of my face. I'm going to do this side. Okay, and I did use the whole 3 drops. As you can see, pretty good match so far. Hopefully when it darkens, it's not horrible. I don't think it will be, but you know. Okay, so that's one side. It gave me pretty good coverage, I feel, for a what is this? For a skin tint, I feel like this is really good coverage. I mean, it's light coverage. It's not sheer coverage. This is, for me, is not sheer coverage. I think this is a pretty good light coverage. Of course, I can use a little bit more around my nose and around my mouth. So I'm just going to go in with 3 drops again. But I'm going to use the brush on the other side, and then I will show you guys how it builds up. So again, I used all the 3 drops. Kind of press in and flicker. flicker that brush. Usually when I use a brush, any kind of dry areas or around my nose, you can kind of like see it more. So I'm gonna see how this does. Usually skin tints don't really do that for me, but we shall see. It doesn't really say anything about what kind of finish it has. Now that I think about it, let's see if it says it on the... It just says lightweight, breathable formula, hydrates, smooth, and blurs. But it doesn't really say anything about being like a dewy finish or a natural finish or a soft matte finish. So far, I feel like this is like a really nice satin natural finish. I feel like with the brush and with the beauty blender, it gave me the same finish. Usually when I use a beauty blender, it's a little bit more hydrating on that side, but I feel like it's pretty well on both sides. I do feel like, if you can see here, that the brush side gave me more coverage, definitely, as you can see, and the beauty blender, I would need more product to equal it in terms of coverage towards in comparison to this side. And then my nose, I need to put more on my nose as well. This side, I did get my nose pretty well. It looks pretty smooth, as you guys can see. It's not really setting or picking up any of my dry areas around my nose. So I'm very impressed by that. But let's go ahead and do the other side. I think with this one, I'm actually gonna like the brush, because usually when I do the brush, I kind of have to go over it with a beauty blender just to make sure all of the streaks are out. But with this one, it's melting really nicely into the skin. Okay, yeah, I can definitely see it's a little bit more dry here. Then over here, it's a little bit more synced into the skin. And here, it gives me more coverage because it's kind of laying on top of the skin. It's not really... Oh, sorry. Yeah, definitely this side I can see a little bit of more texture around my nose and this part of my mouth here than this side. But let me try to put more foundation and see if it does the same thing. I think it looks so much better and more beautiful and more melted into the skin on this side with a beauty blender than it does with a brush. Although I'm sure that if you just were to see me in real life, it wouldn't make a difference. But here I am in this tiny mirror, you know, being very focused on my skin. I can definitely notice it, but I feel like, you know, if you're just talking to me, the average person's not going to tell what you're doing, you know, what's the difference. Now I'm going to do about 1 drop I'm just going to use a brush and I'm going to do it on my forehead. And it builds really nicely. It doesn't look overly cakey or anything. So that's a plus. I still don't consider this like full medium coverage. I feel like this is like a solid light to medium coverage. I'm not going to try to build it up anymore just because that's not what I like on my skin. But I feel like you can definitely build it without it looking too cakey. So this is my skin so far. And I'm probably going to take you guys outside just to kind of show you guys in natural daylight how it looks on my skin. Guys, this is how it looks outside. It looks very nice and smooth. This is kind of how it looks like compared to my neck. I don't have any concealer on anything right now. Just kind of wanted to show you guys how it looks like in natural lighting. And then this is the swatch on my, let me just grab the tiniest bit and kind of just swatch it here. Obviously the color kind of dilutes itself when it's swatched because it's in much less concentration, but that's how it looks like. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my makeup. Now that I have on all my makeup and I applied a tiny bit of powder on my nose and the center of my face is not necessarily looking dewy. It kind of looks just like a natural satin finish. I wouldn't call this matte either, so that's what I'm gonna call it. It feels like a foundation that's going to hold throughout the day, so I'm gonna definitely look for that just because it's not as dewy. Usually skin tints that are not too dewy hold up better than the really dewy ones, so I'm gonna look out for that. It has settled on my smile line here, and it does look a tiny bit dry and a little bit cakey around this nostril. This nostril looks fine and this side looks better. I don't know if that has to do with the beauty blender or maybe this side just happens to be drier at the moment. I really don't know, but that's what I'm seeing. It is currently sorry, my voice was like leaving me. It was like, bye-bye, Diana. It is currently 10:53 because your girl is lazy. So I will check in a few hours and I'll give you guys an update. Guys, what's up? I am back. I'm looking pretty worn out. As you can see, it is currently 7:55, so it's been more or less 8 hours, and I am ready to just take this off and put on some sunscreen because I do want to go to the park real quick. So my thoughts, I don't know, my thoughts are kind of like bleh. Let me explain myself. So I'm just gonna tell you guys like the pros and the cons that I see in this. That's like the easiest way for me to organize my thoughts. So in terms with cons, I feel like this is not a very durable skin tint. It definitely wears off really quickly, and I'm not like impressed by it. Like, it's not a bad skin tint, but I just don't find anything special in it. And if you have a skin tint that you love, then I think it could be a pass. But if you don't have a skin tint and you want to try one that is a little bit more for oily to normal skin types, then this will definitely be it. One that is not very dewy, just like more natural kind of finish. This one would be a perfect skin tint for you guys to try. And this is also good for beginner friendly, just because it can give you a little bit more coverage than the average skin tint, which is a pro. I also find that in the dry areas that I had around my nose and my smile lines and my mouth have kind of just dissolved into my skin with whatever's left there. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that it has worn off, or if it's just because my oils have kind of blended in there, so it's a little bit more hydrated and dewy. And then in terms for the claim that this is a hydrating foundation, my skin doesn't feel like super hydrated. Like, it still feels a little bit tight. I mean, this is kind of normal when day to day, but yeah, I mean, that's the claim that's supposed to be hydrating to your skin. I don't find it very hydrating necessarily, so that's another thing that I wanted to point out. On this, I really don't know what else to say. I'll probably will keep using it just to see if my love for it can build, but yeah, I just think it's a pass if you have better skin tints in your collection already. And if you want to try a skin tint with a little bit more coverage and something that's not too dewy, then this is a good choice. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.